Hola, hello, how are you? We're gonna go on to the first lecture of this semester too. Um, and we're gonna deal with a verb tense called present perfect and the indirect object pronouns in it. First of all, I want to apologize because I'm recording in my car, and there's a little bit of rain outside, so you may hear some background noise. Hopefully not too much, and it doesn't disturb you a lot, or maybe it relaxes you. Okay. So first of all, the present perfect in Spanish, okay, is a tense that we use to talk in the past. So you can see this little text. I'm going to read it for you, and then we'll work on the translation of it. Hoy no es mi mejor día. Me he levantado tarde porque mi despertador no ha sonado. He perdido el autobús y por eso he llegado tarde al trabajo. De vuelta a casa, mi novio me ha llamado y hemos discutido. Y ahora he recibido un mensaje de mi ex. ¿Qué más puede pasar? So, today is not my best day, or today could be a better day. I've gone up late, or I got up late because my alarm clock didn't ring, hasn't rung, sorry. I've missed the bus, sorry. And that's why I've arrived late to work. I was late to work. When I came home, my boyfriend called me and we had an argument. And now I've got a message from my ex. What else can happen, or what else can you ask for? Okay. And this is, what do all the forms involved have in common? How could you translate them into English? I gave you the translation already, but as you can see, not all of them were translated the same. Okay. In other words, this is a tense that is not going to be completely equivalent to the form of the perfect in English, which would be in the have done something. I have got up, I have gone to work, I have, etc. Okay? So sometimes it is translated by a past tense or by a perfect tense into English. So how do we form it? Can you figure it out yourself? Can you stop the video and look at those verbs that you have in front of you? You have the infinitive, the basic form of the verb in brackets. Can you figure it out? So give yourself some minutes before you go to the next slide. So how do we form it? Let's see if you got it right. The present perfect is a tense which links events from the past with the present. Okay, its English equivalent is loosely to have done, to have seen, to have walked. How do we form it? With an auxiliary verb which is called haber, okay, and a past participle. Okay, be very careful because this is not the verb tener, to have as in possession, or those expressions that we've learned, the feelings, tener hambre, tener frío, etc. Okay, so be very careful because this is a completely different verb, haber. So the tense itself is he, has, ha, hemos, habéis, han, which is the present of the verb haber. And then we need another word. It's a two-word verb, which is the past participle. We've never seen them yet. And they add ADO, IDO, and IDO for the different endings. So ado, edo, ado, ido, and ido. He hablado con Juan hoy. ¿Ya has comido? ¿Has vivido alguna vez en España? So most of the past participles are regular, okay, which is great. But some of them are irregular, and we have them all here. Okay, when I say all, you have to be careful because sometimes we have verbs that have one of these verbs in their form. I'll explain in a minute with examples so it's easier. Okay, so abrir, to open, is abierto. Decir, to say, is dicho. Describir, see, that's one of them. Okay, is descrito. Why I'm saying that's one of them, describe, because it has escribir in it, to write. Okay, so escribir, escrito, to write, written. Descubrir, descubierto, discovered, discovered. Devolver, devuelto. Here we have another one. Volver would be here. Okay, to come back. Vuelto, so that means to come back. I have come back. And devolver means to return something, like a book or something like that. devuelto. Okay. Escribir escrito visor, right. Exponer expuesto, to exhibit. This has the verb poner in it, which is right here, to put, puesto. Hacer, hecho, to do, done, or to make, made. Morir, muerto, to die, dead, or died. Poner, we saw it. Resolver, to solve, resuelto. Romper, to break, roto. Suponer, supuesto, supposed. Has poner again. Suscribir has that escribir thing there. Suscrito, to subscribe. Ver, visto. Okay, seen. Careful with these two verbs, especially these two because they are more common to print and to fry. It has two forms. We can have a regular form or a irregular form, and we use them differently. We won't think about it now, but you will see them, and we'll see some examples and when each of them occurs. So let's try for yourself. We haven't done anything. She has read the Hobbit book. What have you seen last weekend? The rabbit has died. The politicians haven't told the truth. So stop the video, and now we'll check the answers when you finish translating those. No hemos hecho nada. Ha leído el libro del Hobbit. ¿Qué habéis, sorry, es vosotros, plural. ¿Qué habéis visto el fin de semana pasado? El conejo ha muerto. Los políticos no han dicho la verdad. Más ejercicios. ¿Qué ha hecho Betty hoy? What has Betty done today? Use the verbs in this chart here. So we have the verb levantarse already used, reflexive verb, levantarse. So se ha levantado a las 10. She. Se ha levantado a las 10. It's gotten up at 10 o'clock. Acostarse, to go to bed. Cenar, to have dinner. Ducharse, to shower. Enviar, to send. Hacer, to do or to make. Ir, to go, and jugar, to play. So, number 2 is tricky. Okay? So stop the video now, try one maybe, or try them all if you want. Stop the video and then we'll check the answers. So the second one is actually ha hecho footing. Ha hecho, the verb hacer, footing. 3. Se ha duchado. Se ha duchado. 4. Ha enviado unos correos electrónicos. Ha enviado unos correos electrónicos. 5. Ha ido al cine con una amiga. Ha ido al cine con una amiga. 6. Ha jugado a los bolos. Ha jugado a los bolos. 7. Ha cenado con unos amigos. Ha cenado con unos amigos. Y 8. Se ha acostado a las 12. Se ha acostado a las 12. Okay, how did you do? You get an 8 out of 8? Okay, so this stuff, the present perfect, you can find in your verb tenses book from the library, free in part 2, chapter 17. Okay, this is where you have it with all the examples explained in English and some exercises, and then the answers at the back of the book, as you know. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do today is work on the indirect object pronouns. All right. So let's have a look at them. So the indirect object expresses to whom or for whom something is done. In an example like this, he escrito un mensaje a mi hermana. Un mensaje is the direct object, the what, and to whom is the indirect object, a mi hermana. Indirect objects are always introduced by the preposition a. It doesn't matter if they're personal or not. Okay? They can appear either before or after the direct object. In Spanish, word order is quite flexible, not as rigid as in English. He comprado un regalo a Juan. He comprado a Juan un regalo. It really depends what you want to emphasize. We saw already the direct object pronouns, which were mete, lola, nosos, los, las. Okay? Now, the indirect object pronouns are mete, le, nos, os, les. Okay? We've seen them with gustar. When we learn the verb gustar and verbs like that, we encounter these pronouns. So why do we have this se with an asterisk here? We have a se there because if we were using both pronouns, the indirect and the direct, in a sentence, and we had a lo and a le, we would use se for le instead. Okay, it's a thing to do with the sound of it. It's a thing that has kind of transpired through the history of the language. So it's just in the case when we use both pronouns in a sentence, and I'm saying this mostly for the intermediate people, for the people that live in circles. You've probably encountered that se before. If we use se and then an indirect object like lo or la or los or las, sorry, le, les, then le changes to se. Okay. So what are the differences between them? Okay. So the differences are these two. The third person singular and plural pronouns, and the position is still right before the first verb being conjugated, or after a genitive or gerund and attached to it, as you have seen so far with reflexive, with direct, with indirect pronouns. Examples: Juan compra un regalo a su novia. The question is, ¿a quién? That's the indirect object. To whom? A su novia. So su novia is she, third person singular, that's le. Juan le compra un regalo. Mi abuelo siempre da bombones a mis primos. To whom? To my cousins. That's them. So that's third person plural. So les. Mi abuelo les da bombones. When do we use this in conversation? When we already know, to avoid repetition or to refer to these people. Try for yourself. So we're going to change the indirect object of each sentence into the pronoun. So let's do the first example together, then you stop the video and check your answers after doing them all. Los niños siempre piden ayuda a sus padres. Who do we ask for help? A sus padres. Okay? So, los niños siempre piden ayuda a sus padres. Sus padres is them, third person plural. The pronoun of that is les. So, los niños siempre les piden ayuda. A sus padres, you could leave it, because with indirect object pronouns, we can do redundancy. We can do both. We can leave les and we can leave a sus padres. For you that have done Irish before, a lot of you have done Irish before, that's not unusual. Okay. So let's try the next ones. La cantante da las gracias al público. Objeto indirecto al público. Tengo que enviar estos ejercicios de gramática a mi profesora. Objeto indirecto a mi profesora. Mañana mandará a Ana un mensaje. Objeto indirecto. Think about it. A Ana. El perro trae el palo a su ama. Ama is owner, so a su ama is the indirect object. Todas las noches leen un cuento a sus hijos. A sus hijos. El recepcionista explica al turista dónde está el museo. Al turista. Y he dejado a Paula mi libro favorito. A Paula. So stop the video and try to change all those for the direct object pronouns and then check it out. Answers. Los niños siempre les piden ayuda. La cantante le da las gracias. Le tengo que enviar estos ejercicios de gramática o tengo que enviarle estos ejercicios de gramática. Mañana le mandará un mensaje. El perro le trae el palo. Todas las noches les leen un cuento. El recepcionista le explica dónde está el museo. Le he dejado mi libro favorito. More practice. Vamos a intentarlo con estas frases. We're going to try with these sentences. Es el cumpleaños de Lucía, por eso compro esta camiseta a Lucía. That's when you would avoid repetition, okay? Because you've already said it. Es tu cumpleaños, por eso compro esta camiseta a ti. Es el aniversario de mis padres, por eso regalo un viaje a mis padres. Stop the video and then check your answers. Es el cumpleaños de Lucía, por eso le compro esta camiseta. Es tu cumpleaños, por eso te compro esta camiseta. Es el aniversario de mis padres, por eso les regalo un viaje. Where can you get more practice? Okay, so you can get more practice, and I'm going to write it right here so you can all see it. In the web page that we've been talking about previously. Okay, which is, here we go. Squiggly, BK Nelson, SLC, and then we do direct object, indirect, is the score, underscore, HTML. So personal, Colby, Edu, BK Nelson, SLC. I'll make it smaller so it's easier for you to see in one go. Yeah, that's better for you. Remember the underscore here, or you can just Google Barbara Nelson Spanish exercises and go to the tab that's called Indirect Object Pronouns. Okay, I highly recommend this. Thank you very much.